Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Soul Sparkle Radio. I'm so excited to have you join us today, and I'm also thrilled to be joined by Emma Black. Emma is a transformational love guide, founder of Positive Power Healing, and a mother to 6 boys, living a life she truly loves and adores in Scotland. Emma's goal is to inspire women to rise up into their own power and achieve everything their heart desires. She mentors, supports, and guides them to loving and embracing who they are, living the life they truly love and adore, while also helping them to find true love. She healed herself tremendously by embarking on this personal development and self-discovery journey. The more she healed and learned, the more she felt called to help other women overcome the same struggles that she endured. Emma loves the blending of the spiritual, psychology, and science-based teachings to bring harmony and balance in our lives. To connect to the vibration of love, love heals all wounds and unlocks the doors to our heart's desires. Welcome, Emma.
Hi there.
So happy to have you, darling. I know we've been talking about this for a while, so it's exciting to finally capture your magic on Soul Sparkle Radio. I love what you're doing in the world, and I'd love to just start by asking you what makes your soul sparkle. What lights you up from the inside out?
That is doing what I'm doing. It's my passion in life. It's my purpose in life, getting to work with women this way. It's something that I've pretty much always dreamed of. I've always been a person that would love to help and make a difference in people's lives. And now to do this, to have my own business and just traveling the worldwide, reaching women and seeing them empower themselves. That's something that truly lights me up inside.
Yeah, and it wasn't an easy journey for you to get here, obviously.
No.
I think a lot of times people will look at where your life is now and think, well, that must be easy for you to do that because, you've never had struggles or suffering. And for most of us, yourself included, that's not the case. So,
Yeah.
You had to go through quite a bit of your own healing journey and your own self-work. Do you maybe want to share a little bit about, what started you on this path and how you kind of got through that hard place to where you are now?
Yeah. So I always say to people that because there's been so many twists and turns and events in my life, and I just say to people it's been an interesting journey so far. I've managed to cram in probably about 60 years of life experiences into my 35 years so far. Yeah. And many of those experiences in the past, they were major hurdles for me to get over. There was just so many issues around the lack of worth. I was a mum from the age of 16. I continuously attracted relationships and partners that would use me, abuse me, they wouldn't appreciate me. And it just seemed that I would go in this failed cycle. And adding to that as well, I seen the connection with your career along with your relationships, because I had such a low self-worth for myself and such lack of love that I never thought that I would be able to achieve anything. I never thought that even when I went into jobs like waitressing, I still didn't feel good enough. Many times those jobs would end up failing as well. So really, I knew one thing that I was good at, and that was being a mum. And it just so happened that, despite things that you would put into place to not be a mum or not not have babies, nothing would work with me. And I really do feel that was again part of my life plan. I do believe that we all have choices, but I also believe that there are some things in our life that are destined to be, and my children are certainly part of that, especially when it's 6 boys. But my life was just, it was like a big, massive ball of mess. I didn't finish school. My mum had something horrible happen to her when we were younger, and our life basically just went downhill. I ended up getting bullied at school. Our teenage years were extremely traumatic, the things that we had to see and go through, and the life that led on to. So I ended up leaving school with no education on paper as such, and fell pregnant at 16, fell pregnant at 18, and it was just one after the other. And I really spent pretty much probably most of my 20s, the longest relationship with my partner, that had, there was a lot of emotional abuse that had happened. And I went through, again, probably some of the worst times in my life. I felt, I used to have body dysmorphia as well. So I really did have this hatred for myself, extremely low. And this went on for so many years. And it got to a point that I just hid. I was a mum for my children, and they are the reason that I'm still here today. Mm-hmm. Because back then, I did not want to continue staying in this world. And many times, many times, I would think of leaving, but they are the reason that I'm still here. So a good few years down the line, bit by bit, I started working with angels. I found angels through one of my traumatic times. And that for me was a little bit of insight of what angels are real. And it's the more magical side, which I come from a town in the west of Scotland, and you don't really talk about spiritual stuff up there. You weren't allowed to really talk about it very much. Mm-hmm. So the whole magical side of life was, not really spoken about. But along came angels, and I started working with them, and I started using that little bit by little bit. It took me quite a long while to begin to heal my life, just to call on them and just have that little bit of comfort. There was still a massive amount of life lessons that I was to go through. And as I said, for many years I did remain hidden, even after I found the angels. But there was this one point of turning in my life. And I remember, like my life was robotic. It was a case of me get up in the morning, see to the children, take them to school, come back, do some cleaning, go pick up your children, feed them, put them to bed, and then I would be in my room for the night. That was my life. Mm-hmm. For probably about a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And I remember staring out at the full moon. You know how you've got this little thing inside you that's, oh my God, there's got to be something more to this. There's so much more to come out. And I remember staring at the moon, and I was just in tears. And I'd said to them, I said, right, okay, I've had enough. I says, this is to stop. I want change. I know there's more. Show me more. And it just seemed that I grabbed a good bit of my power back then, and I went from a size 24 down to a size 12. I started being able to take pictures of myself, which before I wouldn't allow people to take pictures, but I knew that I wanted to start building my confidence up and start loving myself. Right. And I broke free from my partner that I was with at the time, to stand on my own 2 feet. And still, still from that point, there was still years of interesting twists and turns and lessons to go through. But bit by bit, I climbed. And then, I started, I had a little one who was born 10 weeks early. And that gave me another push to say, right, something's got to change now. It's a little bit, you know how you say, like, we go up in levels. And I always say to people, we go up in levels. So it's like, I went up a level, I got a bit more of my power, and then it was like I stayed for a while. And then it was a case of, things got stagnant again, and it was time for me to rise. But it was more like, right, it's time for you to do a bit of a spiritual whoosh. Let's just give you a big life lesson. let's make you grow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my son, he ended up having to be born 10 weeks, 10 weeks early. And from that, again, I got into more deeper work with my angels. I'm looking to make things a little bit quick in this call because it would go on, as you know, because there is so much in the story. But yeah, so I started doing a little bit more deeper work with my angels because I realized then that I had gone downhill a bit again, and it was time for me to sort some stuff out. Mm-hmm. So again, my relationship with my partner then had ended because it wasn't in alignment with who I really was to be. And that started me delving more into my development, especially the spiritual development. I'd already done a holistic therapy course, because I managed to get into college, which was a huge, that was massive for me, because I thought that I would never be able to get into college because I never had anything on paper from school, but I did holistic therapy, so I had that. But it was more the spiritual development. It was time for me to spiritually grow, right, and properly, not just, the odd little book here and there. Mm-hmm. So bit by bit, I kept on going through the life lessons. I got a little book called Cosmic Ordering. I got that free in a magazine. It appeared to me. And when I read that, I was like, oh my God, something just lit up inside of me. Like, there's so much truth to this. Yeah. And I was just reading it more and I was like, right, okay. So I started looking to practice it a little bit. And my family thought I had gone crazy. Mm-hmm. They thought I'd flipped the lid. Because I started practice, and then I was trying to help them heal their lives by saying, you've got to try some of the stuff here. It's really, really good. And they were just, putting the blinkers up, and it was like, nope, I'm not taking it on board. So the whole time that I was learning all of this, it really became, my awareness opened up, and I would see things happening in my life. And although they were, many times, they were still quite extreme things that were happening, some traumatic events, but I would look at them differently. Mm-hmm. And it would make me say, right, okay, so I now understand about, law of attraction. Back then it was law of attraction. Right. Now it's so much more deeper, but back then it was law of attraction and a little bit about, our thoughts and things like that. Mm-hmm. So when things were coming into my life, I would look and say, right, okay, it was like I took my power back. Instead of saying this is happening to me, I could see, yeah. So I would look at things and I would grow from things, and it pushed me to study more and more and more. Mm-hmm. And so I would go to courses, and I went to retreats, and I learned about shamanic side of things, from Reiki, energy healing. I even went and developed with mediumship, and I truly opened myself up to grow with this. Mm-hmm. And then I got onto a course to study with Bob Proctor. This appeared to me, which was a massive leap.
Right.
Especially making the investment, because I was a single mum at that point with how many children? I had 6 children by that point. 6 boys. I was a single mum with 6 boys. Like I said, these life experiences kept on happening. And I was like, right, okay, there's something I'm just not quite getting here. And I know that it's all within me. And it's time for me to really
step up.
So, yeah. And that was when the Bob Proctor course had come up. And it was a big investment for a single mum who didn't have a job. So it was like, how on earth am I going to pay for this? But I knew within me that, it was truly time to figure this stuff out. And I made the investment, and I was very, very blessed that, each month the money came to pay. Sometimes when you look back and I think to myself, where did the money actually come from? It's like, but it came. And that truly opened things up. That was, for me, was like, it was connecting everything that I had learned.
It was the glue.
And yeah. And that was it was like before you were getting snippets of information from books and everything else.
Yeah.
But this just seemed to connect everything. And from that, it's just continued growth.
Right.
And my biggest passion in life, my why, was I always had this dream to open up a healing centre. And, I'd read the books. I never allowed this dream to come to the forefront, because when I was younger, it's like, well, I'm a single mum of 6 kids. How am I going to achieve that? I can't even work. I had fibromyalgia as well. So I was filled with illnesses and stuff like that. So how on earth am I going to work? Oh, I need to win the lottery. Let's use the law of attraction. Let's win the lottery. But then as I continued to grow, I was like, well, instead of winning the lottery, why don't I just make my own lottery?
Yeah.
There's what's the other ways? And I called out to the universe and I says, okay, it's like, you're showing me with all of this that there's other ways. What is it?
Right.
So I was given insight into all of the many different ways that you could make massive amounts of money.
And now you're on the path to make it happen.
I'm on the path, but then somebody had said to me, what will you be doing even when you're a millionaire?
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, do you know what? Right now, I have to set up positive power healing.
Yep.
Right now, I have to do this work. And I paused studying in SEO and web design and internet marketing and all of that. I just hit the pause button because this is my true passion. That was my sole focus. And that was when, obviously I was studying with Bob Proctor and all of their teachings, and just everything just all gelled together, I feel, in the perfect way for me to guide people in the world, because I blend the spirituality. I blend all of my teachings and everything that I've ever learned from the spiritual side and continue to learn to bring forward in my passion in guiding women to rise in their power. I made it my mission that I always remember looking at Erin Brockovich for inspiration, because she was a single mum of 4 kids. I seen that film and I was like, look what she did. Look what she did. You can do so much more. You can be so much more. And I always remember taking that as inspiration. And when I was reading everything that I was reading, I was like, okay, you know what? We can achieve anything. And that stuck with me for all of these years to keep me rising above my fears and my insecurities, to heal my life and to achieve what I want to achieve.
And it's so perfect
Because
how you've taken your, you've almost taken all of your, your deepest wounds and your deepest suffering and created a way to use that beautiful way to help other women, and I think
yeah,
for a lot of us that are in the space of service and whether it's teaching, whatever the modality looks like, but there is that common theme of taking all of the things, all of the truths and the lessons that we've learned and give others a way to benefit from that. I always think of it, for me, I think of it as consolidated suffering. Like if I can help you like not suffer as much because of these things teaching, that feels like such a beautiful gift to the world too. So I love
yeah,
and I love that now, like as we transition to the present time, you are creating a really big dream. And I've
yeah,
been blessed to be able to watch it all unravel from the beginning, which is so fun. Would love to hear about the retreat because one of your big dreams when we worked together at the beginning of the year um, was to create your very first retreat for women to come, like a transformational retreat. And so, what was it? Within like 3 days, you got home from our shine. You had it. You found the castle, and it was like, oh my gosh, she does not mess around, which I love. Obviously, I love people that take action because that's how I am. I'm like, oh, that's exciting. I think I'm going to do that, and then it's like done. I'd love to hear a little more about the retreat. I'm excited to be there, and I think our listeners would love to hear more about what you're creating and how you overcame. Like again, I think the message of your story, that the common theme of your story, is really just allowing yourself to create exactly what you desire, right?
yeah,
No matter what you've been through, no matter what struggles or suffering that has occurred in your life, I think the message that I want to make sure people understand is that no matter where you are now, there is a way out, and
yes,
there is a path to get you to the life that you've been dreaming of. You know,
mm-hmm.
much like you, I spent years in a place that I'm like, this is not my life. Like this is not the life that was meant for me. I know there's more.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's more possible and more available. And so I feel like I want to make sure people know that there is a life that we've been dreaming of. That one that you have been dreaming of is available to you. So I'm so excited for what you're creating this August in Scotland. And it's 5 days. It's in a castle. You want to share a little bit more of the details about it?
Yeah. So yes, I was with you in Barcelona, and we were talking. I still remember so clearly. I was like, "Sis, I've got my own retreat right here." We were working through the program, and all of a sudden, it was like inside my mind, I could see how everything was placed out. So I'd came home from Barcelona, and just this castle had popped up at me, and I was like, "Oh, I bet you the women would love to come over and see this castle." And then I put a post up about it, and loads of women were like, "Oh my God, yes, 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 yes." So then all of a sudden, I was like, you can actually hire castles for people to stay in. I was like, oh, wow,
So
how
fun.
perfect is that? We can actually stay in a castle, a Scottish castle. And everything for that come about just flowed. And then the actual retreat as well. And it's all about women coming together. There's so many times that we allow those BS beliefs within ourselves, stuff that has happened in our past,
Mm-hmm.
to define what we're doing right now in our lives or what our future is. Or either that it's they're being stuck and blocked and hidden from truly stepping up into their power.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, it took me years to work through that. And you know what? It took me years because I was alone. I didn't have anybody to support me. I went on that journey alone. I'm happy to say my family now take it on board because they've seen what I've done in my life. So they now take the teachings on board. But I wanted to create a way for women to truly rise in their power, get rid of all of those blocks, to see the truth. And I really feel that when women come together united in doing this, there's even more power, there's more magic created.
Totally agree. Yeah.
And that's where Phoenix transformation, it's you rise like the phoenix.
Yep.
You rise from the ashes more powerful and beautiful than ever before. You're to be who you were truly destined to be. And that's the main purpose of the retreat. And through all of the lessons that I had been learning, when you look back and you see all the little signs that they were trying to show you, one of the main lessons in life is for us to learn love.
Yeah.
And that's why I add that into all of my work, everything that I do. For us to begin to align our vibration up to match that of love, for us to learn how to truly love ourselves, be at peace with ourselves. I feel that my lesson in life was to see this.
Yeah.
And I really do feel that my purpose in life was to go through what I did, to truly understand. I can have compassion with so many others because of the pain that I've gone through.
Exactly.
Which has brought me to be this person and to be able to guide others.
Yeah, it's so sweet, isn't it? To understand there's nothing, there's a purpose for everything, right? And when we can start to shift that, like we talked about earlier, the fact that things happen for us, not to us, and then use that to be a blessing to others, it's like, wow, that's powerful to me. So I love it. I love being on this journey with you, Emma. It's so sweet to see you transform and step into the woman that you've always dreamed of being, and step into even the next iteration of your work in the world. It's an honor to be a mentor and a guide for you in that way. Such a joy. So I will make sure that the links to everything, to your Be the Love course, as well as the retreat, are in the notes. So any of you listeners feel called to check out more of Emma's magic, we'd love to have you in Scotland, wherever around the world that you are. We'd love to have you there. So thank you again so much, Emma, for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I cannot wait to continue to watch the magic unfold for you, dear.
I know.
Okay, everyone, we will look forward to having you on the next episode of Soul Sparkle Radio. Thanks so much for being here. Much fun.